page, page of the mimer that is on page um, Tesvav, I believe, Tesvav, middle of the page, line 18, is it? The line,
11, 11,
I'm sorry,
11.
line 11, correct. So we were talking about that the idea of Vayakil Moshe is the idea of bringing down into this physical world, into the Gashmis of the world, the into Lamites Malachas of this world that's hinted in Elah Hadvarim, the words Elah Hadvarim, we have to bring down the idea of Dirib Tachtoinim, because the entire world was created not for the worlds of Atzilus or for the worlds of Bria, etc., but it was created for this physical world. So now the Rebbe is going to go on to explain more in detail about what the creation involves in this physical world, or what the Kavanah and Dirib Tachtoinim involves in this physical world. So again, like we mentioned, the line 11, page Tesvav. More specifically concerning the Dirib Tachtoinim, how it is to be nimshach down here below. So in this world itself, there are four types, four categories, four levels. Doimim, inanimate things, semech, growing things, chai, living animals, medaber, and human beings. The tachsa kavanahi, and the ultimate purpose is suga doimim dafke, specifically in the type of inanimate things, meaning the dir betachtoinim should permeate to the lowest level of these four levels. It could permeate the dir betachtoinim in the medaber, in the chai. The ultimate thing is means the doimim. Where do you see the doimim? You actually see it in the human being. For the ultimate purpose is in the descent of the neshama to the body, because the body is the doimim. How is the body the doimim? It's more doimim in a certain way that Rebbe is going to bring out than even other bodies of other beings, because all other beings were created, their nefesh and their body together, except for a human being. Because all the other creations were created differently than all the bodies of all the other creations. All of them were created in their tzivyonim. The way he's explaining the word tzivyon over here is in their beauty, meaning in their completeness, in their completion. So in other words, when animals were created, when a stone was created, when a plant was created, it wasn't created a dead animal, a dead stone, a dead plant. It was created immediately, the nefesh and guf together. Being Cain, Misyach is gufam la nefesh. Therefore, their body relates to and is associated with the nefesh that's in them, because the body was never very far apart from the nefesh. The body was created simultaneously with the nefesh. So since the body was simultaneously created with the nefesh, so the body is like almost close to their nefesh because they were created together. As a person, a human being, it says, Golmi ro einacha, that my unformed clod of earth your eyes saw. Golmi from the word goylem, an unformed being. And the Chazal said, first the Eibishter formed a body of a person like a goylem, an inanimate thing. It was just a clod of earth, just in the form of a human being without any life to it. And only afterwards the Eibishter blew into him and the shaman. So our body is in a way like more doimim and the lowest really of all the other types. Very interesting, because usually we think of we are medaber, so we are the highest. It's not that way. Because our bodies were created separate from our nefesh, so in truth, who is the real daimim? Our bodies. Specifically in this inanimate thing is fulfilled the intention and purpose of a home down and below. The drawing down of Hashem's essence. So this is what he's adding over what he said in the first half of the ois. In the first half of the ois, he said that the kavanah is nishlam dafka over here, not in the world of Atzilus, not in the Yitzirasiyah Ruchnim, but only in the physical world. And now he's adding what we're learning today, that what's the true fulfillment of Dirle is in the doimim of our body. And that's where we have Hashem's etzem come down. How does that affect it? What is the vehicle through which that happens? So that's through the neshama that's enclosed in this body. The Indian Amshach Sa'atzmus Nasai de Neshamas Israel, and the drawing down of Hashem's essence occurs through the neshamas of the Yidden. How is the neshama able to do this? Because the neshama is not something that is separated from the Eibishter, so they are able to be a vehicle for drawing down Hashem's essence down here below. Where do we see this connection of the neshamas with the Eibishter? Shining neshamas Yisrael, all of Machshav, the neshamas of Yidden arose in the thought of the Eibishter. Sheheim b'bchinas hamachshavim. That is a level of thought. That the Yidden are on the level of thought of the Eibishter, and thought shows something internal, just like speech by us is something for outside of us, but our thought is something meant for ourselves. And in thought itself, there's different types of levels of thought. There's the way I think about things that are of no consequence or only of little consequence. And then there's the way I think about my own life, my own self, my own being, my own child, etc. This is something that's a thought that has to do with my very core. So, and so that is the exact expression that it says, that they rose up in the thought. The fact that it says that the Neshamas Yisrael rose up in the thought, that indicates a higher level of thought, not just any thought. To such degree, top of page Zayin, that the neshamas are rooted in the etz of the Eibishter, and therefore, the way that they are rooted in the Eibishter will be a dias atzma yedeyas and neshamas. In the same way, how Hashem knows Himself, meaning His connection with Himself, that is the way He knows the neshamas. That is how He's connected to the neshamas. That should be dias atzma who yedeyas and neshamas, since the way He knows of the neshamas is not, He doesn't look at the neshamas as something that looks like, at least that it's outside of Him, but He looks at the neshamas as being part of Him. So therefore, when the neshamas are down here in this world, so these neshamas are manifestations of the Eibishter in this world. Mitzad, there should be dias atzma there in the neshamas, because of this, that by his own knowledge of self, he knows the neshamas in the bechol makom sheheim, in every place, wherever the neshamas are, meaning even in this world, even in the doimim of our body, bechol say the ishtalshlus in the entire chain order of the sand, v'gam begupa adam, even in the human body, which we said before, that's the ultimate doimim, lower even than the doimim of any other creation. Nirgish Bahem Inyan Yedias Atzma Shehu V'Daita Echad is felt in the neshama, the awareness that Eibishter has of his own self, that he and his mind are all one. Therefore, since the neshama has this awareness, it is able to be a vehicle for the Eibishter. It's able to be a channel for the Eibishter. V'Lachein Poyalim Hamshachas Ha'atzmos. Therefore, the neshamas affect the drawing down of Hashem's essence. So the body is the ultimate tachton with which Hashem wanted to have the dear Lo Yisbarach B'Tachtonim, and the vehicle and the means to draw down the Eibishter's essence is the neshama that has in it the awareness of its connection with Atzmos. Then what is the tool that the neshama uses to affect this? And this type of amshach of Hashem's essence is through the Torah. Because also the Torah is rooted in Hashem's essence. So because neshamas and Torah are rooted in essence, so by them joining forces, they can draw down the Eibishter's essence into the doimim of the Yid's body. Gashrin Shamas, the Torah boy Miachtav and the Shamas and Torah come together. So then they draw down the Eibishter's essence in the body of a person, the level of the inanimate thing, and all material, physical things in this world, the inanimate things. I'm sorry. That's included in the words Elahadvarim, like we said, that Elahadvarim indicates the 39 malachas, lamates, malachas, duvd in the chayil, the 39 labors of mundane matters. And why is that its purpose? Because the neshama itself does not need to be and to have any repair done. And the intention of its descent down below is to refine the body and the animal soul and his apportioned place in the world that he's supposed to elevate. This is fulfilled the intention and purpose of a home down here below. These are the matters that Havaya commanded to do them. So we asked, what's the meaning of this pasuk? So he's adding another nuance to it. The Eila Hadvarim is the 39 malachas. The 39 malachas is the Dira B'Tachtoinim. Why does it say Asher? Tziva Havaya Lasas Oisam. Tziva Meloshin Safsa V'Chibor. Tziva is in the word togetherness and joining, meaning V'Hainu Shaydei asks B'Dvar Magashmim, through being involved and engaged with physical matters. Lastly, is Baruch Dira B'Tachtoinim to make a home for the Eibishter down here below. We become bound and joined with Hashem's very essence. So that is the idea of Siva Havaya, that the Havaya makes it be joined with the Eibishter himself. Any questions before we go on to Oizai?
Seems like it's following the recent Tanya.
Yeah. Sometimes I think I see that in the Mamorim in general of a certain time of year, how it fits in with the Tanya of that year. Also, some things come in from the Chumash, not just from the title of the Maimon has to do with the Chumash, but some is in Chumash Rashi, but like often from the Tanya, like you're saying. Okay, it's known. Yesod Kol Seder Ishtalshlos, the foundation, the basis of the entire chain order of descent. While Shloisha Inyanim the Olam Shana Nefesh. Sefer Yetzirah says everything reflects in the idea of world, which is space, Shana year, which is time, and Nefesh is the person. So in other words, there are three things that make up Seder Ishtalshlos: person, time, and place. And therefore, the Rebbe often brings out that what is found in one is reflected in the others. So what we see in Olam, we can see also in Shana and in Nefesh and vice versa. Therefore, Nimnu Kan Shloisha Inyanim Elu, here are enumerated these three things that pertain to Olam, Shana, and Nefesh, as he's going to explain. But it says Vayakal Moshe is called Das B'nai Yisrael, that Moshe collected and gathered the entire congregation of the B'nai Yisrael in Bechinas Nefesh. It's the level of Nefesh. Hikil is called Nafshis Yisrael Bechinas Ha'achtis Ha'mitis, that he collected them, meaning he brought them to a state to a true unity, meaning that unity with the Eibishter. That's where the true unity is found. The Inyan Zeh U'Bekoiche Shal Moshe Dafki. Why just say that the Eden gathered together? Why is it specifically Moshe had to gather them? Because this is the power of Moshe to be able to gather them to the true unity and oneness. The feature since his root is from what's called the first set of 7 years. Lamaila, top of the next page, higher than the Shemitah that we find ourselves now, beyond the chain order of descent. What this means is, just like in the physical sense, in the physical world, there is Shemitahs, there's 7 years, and then after the 7th year, we start again another cycle. The same thing in creation, there's also different cycles. And it's based on a sefer called Sefer Atmuna and other achronim on the commentary on the side. He goes through different ways how this was understood. But I will just go to the main point in the commentary. If you want, you can learn on the other side the other things that he says. Let's go to the right side of the page to line 17. This is he explains according to Kabbalah's Harizah. So he says like this: because we are in a Shemitah Shniya, L'chein Pascha HaTorah Bebeis Bereshis. That's why the Torah began with the letter Beis of Bereshis. Beis indicates a second time around. That means that there was already one cycle. Now it's a second cycle. But it does not mean, the Arizal explains that we're not talking here about a physical existence. But the Arizal explained the doesn't mean that there was a physical world like this physical world that's now in Shemayim Voretz Gashmim, with physical heavens and earth, with doimim to me'achayim medaber, and inanimate things and growing things and living creatures and human beings. This was only in this Shemitah we had this. The Inyan Shemitah, when we talk about a Shemitah, a cycle that was prior to this 7-year cycle, 7,000 years, which is like connected to 7 years and so on. Who Inyan Olam Toyu, that's referring to the world of Toyu, which was a spiritual world, not a physical world. The Inyan Shemitah, the Achshav Inyan Olam Tikun. The present Shemitah is in the world of Tikun. By the way, it's all taken out from a mimer in Torah, the Alter Rebbe. There were 2 neshamas from the first Shemitah that entered our Shemitah. They're from the world of Toyu prior to the world of Tikkun. They descended and was drawn down below to the second Shemitah. The second Shemitah is the level of Tikkun. What are those 2 neshamas? Chanoich, who we know was taken away, and Moshe Rabbeinu. Chanoich like Chanoich says that Chanoich travel with the Eibishter Loimer to tell you Shekvaris Alech Esolakim Bishmita Al. The way the Alter Rebbe explains the word Vayis Alech Chanoich Esolakim means in past tense, not what happened afterwards that he was taken. But it means prior to him coming into this world, he was arrayed with Alakim in the Shemitah Rishayna. Told by Moshe, it says, that he was drawn out of the water. What's the idea of the water? The Hainu Mishmita Rishayna Shiyaisim Kiyas Chesed and Nikra. It's from the first Shemitah that was from the level of Chesed, that's called Mai. So he was taken from that first Shemitah. Earlier, he also spoke about the concept of 7 Shemitahs, which we do not say there's going to be 7 Shemitahs. Others say it corresponds to the 7 Midas. So the first Shemitah is Chesed, Mayim. The second Shemitah is Gvura, Tzimtzum, Mishram. And from that level of Mayim, from that first level of the Shemitah Rishayna, Mishisuhu Lishmitah de Achshav. They drew him down to the present Shemitah. The primary descent to the Shemitah is to repair and to fix up the world. Because their root is very high from this first Shemitah, like we said before. The Shemitah, since they are higher than the Shamas of this Shemitah, this means Shasham Nimsa Bittel Harbe Yoiser in the first Shemitah. The bittul is in a more powerful way, than is found in this Shemitah. That's why Moshe says, we are what? What is man showing on bittul. And also Moshe was the most humble person because he came from the first Shemitah. But the main thing is, because he came from that first Shemitah, he has that power to be able to make that unity and join the Yidden together and make an Achdus within the Yidden through joining them with Alikus. Okay, back to the text, page Yud Zayin, line 2. Masha is what it says about that Moshe Rabbeinu, after he gathered them together. He said, he said to them, these are the matters, and the matters is going on. The mundane activities, it's the level of world. Like we said before, there's Olam Shana Nefesh. So the unity and the joining of Yidden amongst themselves, to be able to join with the Eibishter, that's by Yakel and Moshe. Then there's the idea of world. We are taking all the objects of this world through the 39 types of labor. We know it's brought down that every type of joining between space and the person that's in the space, it's brought down of the Kabbalah, that this happens through the level of time. Time is a linchpin between the two. So therefore, there's a time process in this type of unity with the world. And that's why it uses an idea of time that 6 days the work has to be done, the 7th day. It's a Shabbos of Shabbos. Say that that is the order of Avodah in the category of time. Just like this idea is in the general idea of Klal Yisrael, that Klal Yisrael in general is joined together in the Achdus of Hashem. And as a whole, we are given the mission of making a Dir Lo Yisbarach B'Tachtonim through gathering together. We have to unite the physical objects, Alamates Malachas, with Eibush. And then there's the idea of the how it manifests itself in time, again, on the big picture. So Keinu Gama Prot is Kol Echad V'Echad Yisrael, so too specifically in every single Yid. That a person needs to be involved in his avodah, and these 3 matters. What does that mean? Not just Moshe Rabbeinu has to gather us together, but we have to gather ourselves together. Yakel Moshe's called Das B'nai Yisrael, that Moshe collected and gathered the whole congregation of the B'nai Yisrael. A person needs to collect and gather all of his scattered things. In the footnote, it says there's missing over here some of the text that remind me what the Rebbe said, but there's just maybe we could insert something over here from something that says in Chovis Alavavis and Shara B'Tachin. It says over there that there was a pious person used to say, one of the Chassidim used to say, it says that the Eibishter should save me from Pizur HaNefesh, from my soul being scattered. That, and he goes on to explain, what does it mean, my soul being scattered? That when I have all types of investments and businesses, the head of every capital city and the beginning of and every port and every city, I have some type of monetary investment and things. So then my mind is scattered. My brain is thinking about what's going on in that port, and my brain is thinking about what's going on in that city, and so on and so forth. So we're saying that perhaps this is part of what the Rebbe is saying over here, that we need to collect ourselves. We need to focus. We need to not get lost in all the things that are going on all over the place, that we're invested here and we're put into there and we have that. We have to collect ourselves together. And how are we able to collect ourselves? And this power of collecting ourselves is by the power and empowerment of Moshe Yisrael that's in each and every Yid. Concerning this, the Chazal said, in Legabe Moshe Milsa Zutrasi, this is the classic thing that when Moshe Rabbeinu said, what is Hashem asking you, only to fear him? And the Chazal said, is then fear an easy thing? And they said, yes, for Moshe Rabbeinu it's an easy thing. The answer that the Alter Rebbe explains, the Koi, how can it be? What does that help that Moshe Rabbeinu it's an easy thing? This is asked for us. He says the Koid Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, it's referring to Abachinas Moshe Shebchalech and Vechem Yisrael. It's referring to the Moshe of every single Yid. So the same thing, there's the power of Moshe within me that's able to focus me and to collect me from being scattered all over the place. And then that is the micro, how this applies to me in the Vayakhe. What about the next part of the pasuk? How it applies to me? Inyan Elad Varma Shetziva Vaylas. These are the matters that Hashem commanded to do them. It's referring to being involved in mundane matters in a way of tziva. Tzivos in the word togetherness and joining, meaning that when I'm working with physical mundane matters, I need to join my physical matters with godliness, whether it's work, whether it's eating, drinking, sleeping, whatever, any physical activity I do. So that's the goal, the purpose of the intention of the neshama coming down here into the body, to cause that joining between the yid and between the physical world and the Eibush. So that's also understood how that's not just on the macro, on Klal Yisrael in general, but each individual has that type of thing. Elad Varma should see that we need to take the Elad Varm, all the preoccupations that we have, and be mitzvah. We have to join them with the Eibush. The Cholzev, why the Avodah Bisman, all this comes about through our service and time. That's the idea of 6 days. Work shall be done. That we said the work shall be done has to be in a way that it's automatic. It's in a way that I'm not investing my brain and my heart, like we said before. And when I'm just doing it just with my hands, and my brain and heart are divested from it, 5 days of Shabbos, and through that we come to Shabbos of Shabbos. So we know another thing, the Chazal make a point of emphasizing that essentially Vayakheil is about Moshe Rabbeinu gathering the Yidden in the simple pshat. It's about Moshe Rabbeinu gathering the Yidden to tell them about the Mishkan. And yet he chooses to insert right over here, right next to the idea of the building of the Mishkan, the idea of Shabbos. And they speak about this, La Masamach Shabbos, Mishkan. Why does he put Shabbos close to the work of the Mishkan? The Rebbe is going to use it in regards to the message that we're trying to say now. Shabbos and the Torah and Moshe Rabbeinu placed Shabbos right next to the Tivuyim of the building and making the Mishkan, in top of the last page. Through the avoid that we mentioned before, of all the three things that we collect, all our scattered parts of our soul that's scattered all over the place, and focus what we're supposed to focus it on, and we make a tziva, we make a joining of the uvdin the and our way we join it with the Eibishter to make a dir b'tachtonim, and in such a way that our hearts and our minds are removed from it. It's in a way of tiyasa malacha. So through that, the idea of avodah is keres leil. Through this entire avodah, Yabin Beis Hamikdash Shlishi Meir will be the building of this third Beis Hamikdash speedily in our day. Any questions?